Hello everybody and welcome to today's episode. We've got something wonderful for you today from DC Spinmaster, the unkillable zombie, Solomon Grundy. So I was lucky enough to find this guy in a store about a month or two ago. I did not even expect that he was going to be released. I saw him on the pegs with Red Hood and Batgirl, which I own both of, and I've already done a review of the Red Hood, so let me know if you'd like to see a review of Batgirl. Since I've had this figure for a while, I don't have the packaging anymore, but if you're familiar with the DC Spinmaster packaging, then you're not missing anything. It's the exact same, and it comes with 3 surprise accessories, which we'll get to in a little bit. First, let's look at the Sculpt. Let's get up close and personal with Solomon Grundy. So you can see these teeth are painted yellow. His eyes honestly look a little bit dopey. His cheeks are kind of high up. But I realize this guy's supposed to be dead, so his face is gonna look wonky anyways. If you don't know much about the backstory, Solomon Grundy started out as a human being named Cyrus Gold. He was murdered in the 19th century. Back in the 19th century, he was murdered, see? And then they dumped his body in a place called Slaughter Swamp. That's where Solomon Grundy was born. Cyrus Gold went into Slaughter Swamp, but Solomon Grundy is what came out 50 years later. And every time that you think he's dead, he doesn't die. He just respawns back at Slaughter Swamp. So now let's move to the articulation. 360 swivel at the head, 360 rotation at the shoulders, goes out above 90. This is him with his arms as close to the body and his legs as close together as possible. His elbows go in a rotate, no wrist or waist, ball joint thighs that go out about there. He's got a great side split, and hip rotation. Nothing below that. So if you've ever owned one of the monster-sized figures from DC Spinmaster, the articulation is about the same as that. The other monsters don't come with knee articulation either. I just really wish they found some way to include it for Solomon Grundy. Now it's time for some comparisons. Here he is standing next to his wave mates, Batgirl and Red Hood. Even though I would like Solomon Grundy to be taller, he's much beefier and thicker. He's about the size of both of them put together. Here's Reverse Flash and the Batman that came in the Batman and Clayface 2-pack, and I've just given him a couple of accessories. Solomon Grundy is taller than both. Here he is standing next to some of DC's heavy hitters. You can see Bane is taller than Solomon Grundy, but King Shark is smaller. And here we have 2 figures from the Marvel Retro 4-inch line, both of which I have customized to give them more articulation in the arms and legs. And if I can just go off on a little tangent over here, Solomon Grundy cost less than $10, and you get the figure with all the articulation and 3 accessories. Each one of these costs almost like $13 now, or maybe even more, with no accessories and only 5 points of articulation. If you're going to charge so much more than a product like this, you have to deliver more than a product like this. And in my opinion, they just don't. And lastest but not leastest, Pumpkin Wrapper's head. Time for the accessories. And here we can have a look at all the accessories he comes with. The close-up of the arm chain. Seems like there's a little rock at the end of it, like he pulled the chain out of a wall. If you've ever played the Arkham City games, There is a scene where, spoiler alert, Solomon Grundy is in one of the games, and he's been kept in basically the basement of a building. And he's chained up, so when, right before you have to fight him, he rips his way out of the walls, and then he has these almost wrecking ball type weapons. So maybe that's what they were trying to go for with these arm shackles. And here he is with this, I don't know, pipe with concrete, I guess. It seems like he just ripped a stop sign out of the ground, and this is just the concrete that's left. I did think it was pretty cool. If you look at the way that the pipe is shaped, you can actually spin while he's holding it, and now he's holding it at a totally different angle. So I don't know if they did that on purpose, but I think that's an awesome touch. That way it really shows some dynamic ways for him to grip onto this clump of cement. It looks like we've made it to the end of the review, where I'm going to start talking about my final thoughts and any kind of improvements that I could think of, or any that I've heard of before. One of the improvements that I thought could be made for Solomon Grundy is, obviously you can see right here on the shoulders how the paint doesn't go all the way down. That seems like a simple enough fix for anybody with brown paint. You just got to paint up to this line. You might have to worry about the paint scratching whenever you lift the arms and stuff, but I think it'll help make the look more complete. Next, I wish they would have included knee joints. I know for most of their monster figures and their bigger figures, they usually don't give them knee joints for stability reasons. But I also think could have really used the knee joints, and I don't think it would have messed with the stability that much. However, this figure's already pretty hefty. It's got a nice weight to him, so I understand that they probably already used all the budget on just making him feel good rather than giving him the extra knees. And he doesn't need them, but it would be nice to have them. Next up, I want to talk about this face. I think it could have used a different head sculpt. I know that Spinmaster is kind of aiming towards kids, so they probably couldn't have gone with a very grotesque, decaying type of face sculpt like maybe he should have. But in the right lighting, it kind of looks, zombified. I'm thinking about going in and painting his eyes as yellow as his teeth. Maybe give him some kind of glowing effect. Make him feel more like a zombie and less just like a... this just looks like an angry dad right now. There's also a good chance that if you wanted to, if you didn't care about Solomon Grundy, and you wanted a better Marvel Hulk, you could just paint his skin green and leave everything else kind of the same. And that's pretty much a Hulk with sutures custom that you got there. This could also make a pretty good Frankenstein action figure. Next on the list of possible improvements that they could make, the accessories that they gave him with, they're not that bad, and they are, I guess, in some ways character specific, if these are a reference to the Arkham video games. But they are also I think a repack of the Killer Croc accessories, because I think he came with 2 chained bracelets. I don't know what you call shackles. And then this is a lot cooler than I thought. Whenever I first saw it, I was like, oh wow, they just kind of gave him a chunk of whatever to hit people with. But the more I look at the design, the more I like it. So all I did was just make some accessories, and I thought some of them went better with him than the ones that might have come with him right now. So first I made him this little hatchet or cleaver, because he seems very much like a butcher. Also made him this bigger axe. Here he is holding the accessories that I tried to give him. And the last accessory that I included, since he's supposed to have 3, is his tombstone. And I did the other side a little more specific. Obviously, I could maybe redo this and try to do it a little bit better. I am by no means an artist, and I can openly admit that. I've never really been a customizer or a crafter until very recently, and now I just started trying to make as many accessories and weapons and stuff as I could to try and practice and just make my action figures a little bit better than they used to be. I also totally just made up these numbers. I don't even know if that's accurate. But what I do know is if I'm able to do these things, I'm certain that you can do them better. So even though this looks laughable and like a kid made it, I think it still adds an extra oomph to the character, and it gives him a little something more than something along these lines. So that was my review on DC Spinmaster's Solomon Grundy. Let me know down in the comments, what accessory do you think this guy should have come with that he didn't? If he could have come with any accessory that you can think of, which one do you think fits Solomon Grundy the best? After you leave that comment, make sure that you like or dislike whatever you feel about this video. If you did like it, I hope that you subscribe, probably share it, maybe talk about it, force people to watch it, whatever you gotta do, you know? Whatever you feel like doing. But please, for me, go have a chuckle and try to be nice to somebody. I hope you guys have a great day.
Solomon Grundy, or on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on a Wednesday, got ill on Thursday, grew worse on Friday, married on Saturday, buried on a Sunday. That was the end of Solomon Grundy.